North Korea has spelled out its plan to launch a volley of ballistic missiles towards Guam, dismissing U.S. President Donald Trump's threats of fire and fury as a load of nonsense. The announcement, made in the name of a general who heads North Korea's rocket command, warned Pyongyang was preparing a plan to fire 4 of its Hwasong-12 missiles over Japan and into waters around Guam, the tiny U.S. Pacific Territory island which hosts 7,000 military personnel on 2 main bases and has a population of 160,000.
Just minutes ago, North Korea putting out a very fierce and threatening response to President Trump's remarks when President Trump threatened to unleash fire and fury on North Korea. We knew that this was coming, but this is a very strongly worded warning from KCNA, the North Korean state media wolf. They call President Trump's remarks a load of nonsense. They say that President Trump fails to grasp the gravity of the situation on the Korean Peninsula, and this really stands out. They say that they believe dialogue will not work with the U.S. president, that only absolute force will work. I want to read to you a portion of this because they actually detail their plan for an attack on Guam, the island that contains key U.S. military assets. It says here, quote, as already clarified, the strategic force of the KPA is seriously examining the plan for an enveloping strike at Guam through simultaneous fire of 4 Hwasong-12 intermediate-range strategic ballistic rockets in order to interdict the enemy forces on major military bases in Guam and to signal a crucial warning to the U.S. So they're targeting the Naval Base Guam, Andersen Air Force Base, the Coast Guard Station, more than 6,000 U.S. troops and more than 160,000 American citizens living on that island, along with an estimated 10,000 tourists. The island packed right now with tourists, and North Korea now issuing this direct threat as a result of President Trump's remarks.
It said the plan could be finalized within a week or so and would then go to leader Kim Jong-un for approval. It said it would be up to Kim whether the move is actually carried out and the missiles would hit waters 19 to 25 miles away from the island. It is unclear whether North Korea would risk firing missiles so close to U.S. territory, which could provoke countermeasures and further escalation. North Korea frequently uses extremely bellicose rhetoric with warnings of military action to keep its adversaries on their heels. It generally couches its threats with language stating it will not attack the United States unless it has been attacked first or has determined an attack is imminent. But the statement raised worries amid a barrage of threats from both sides. Following reports that U.S. intelligence suggests the North might be able to pair a nuclear warhead with a missile capable of reaching targets on the United States mainland, Mr. Trump warned North Korea that it faces retaliation with fire and fury unlike any the world has seen before. North Korea immediately called Mr. Trump's rhetoric a load of nonsense that was aggravating a grave situation. Pyongyang has been louder in its complaints against a new and tough round of sanctions imposed on it by the United Nations, with strong U.S. backing, and Washington's use of Guam as a staging ground for its stealth bombers, which could be used to attack North Korea. The North Korean report said the Hwasong-12 rockets would fly over Shimane, Hiroshima and Koichi regions of Japan and travel 1,065 seconds before hitting the waters 30 to 40 kilometers away from Guam. It said the Korean People's Army Strategic Force would finalize the plan by mid-August, present it to Kim and wait for his order. We keep closely watching the speech and behavior of the U.S., it said. Such a move would not merely be a test launch, but a demonstration of military capabilities in a manner that could easily lead to severe consequences. If North Korea were to actually carry out such a launch, even if it aimed at hitting the waters off Guam and not the island itself, that would clearly pose a potential threat to U.S. territory and put the United States in a much more complicated situation than it has been during previous missile launches. Guam lies about 2,100 miles from the Korean peninsula and it is extremely unlikely Kim's government would risk annihilation with a preemptive attack on U.S. citizens. It is also unclear how reliable North Korea's missiles would be against such a distant target, but no one was writing off the danger completely. Washington has been testing its missile defenses in response to the North's stepped-up development, and the current escalation of tensions could lead to pressure for the U.S. military to try to shoot down Pyongyang's missiles in mid-flight if they were heading towards Guam. That is likely to open up a set of very major problems, including the possibility of both a very high-profile failure or a miscalculation of Washington's intentions and a more deadly preemptive strike by the North, which has missiles able to hit Tokyo and conventional weapons that could devastate South Korea's capital Seoul. The Hwasong-12, which was revealed for the first time at a military parade in April, is an intermediate-range ballistic missile that is believed to have a range of more than 2,300 miles. It can be fired from mobile launchers, making it hard to detect and destroy on the ground. By launching a volley of 4, the North would be attempting to make it harder for the U.S. to intercept all of the incoming missiles. Washington, meanwhile, has been giving out mixed signals of what its intentions might be. While Mr. Trump was threatening annihilation and boasting from the New Jersey Gulf resort where he is on holiday that he has made the U.S. nuclear arsenal far stronger and more powerful than ever before, Secretary of State Rex Tillerson sought to calm the sense of crisis. Speaking on his way home from Asia, he insisted the U.S. was not signaling a move towards military action. Americans should sleep well at night, he told reporters. But Defense Secretary Jim Mattis ratcheted the rhetoric back up, calling on Pyongyang to cease any consideration of actions that would lead to the end of its regime and the destruction of its people. Meanwhile, General Kim Raek-jong, commander of the North Korea's strategic rocket forces, became the latest critic of Mr. Trump's working holiday, accusing him of acting senile while on the golf links again. He said Mr. Trump was extremely getting on the nerves of his soldiers by making comments that showed his senility again, adding, "Sound dialogue is not possible with such a guy bereft of reason who is going senile."